I built custom bespoke miniatures of these radiator spring shops from Pixar's Cars, but here's the catch. I had to get them done in 1 month, because I threw a big Christmas party where I unveiled them to all my friends. A lot of my viewers don't know this about me, but I build miniatures. It was one of those hobbies you pick up in COVID lockdown, but for me it actually stuck. Don't believe me? Well, viewer, there were hints all along. You may have noticed on these bookshelves in the backgrounds there are these strange illuminated frames. Well, this is a mini LA street scene that I made over COVID, and I've been plussing ever since. And on this bookshelf is a living beach highway scene that I built. The tablet plays a live stream of a beach, so the sun rises and sets and illuminates the scene in real time. And I've been uploading progress and photos to the TikTok and Instagram accounts Sunset Minis. That's right, viewer. I was 2 content creators, 3 if you include my occasional animations, this whole time. And it was all under your nose. All of you none the wiser. All building up to this. And on this shelf, next to my desk, just out of frame, are these. I'm a very big Pixar Cars fan, and I love the shops of Radiator Springs. I think they're just amazing examples of mid-century American roadside architecture. And I chose my 2 favorites, Flo's V8 Cafe and Radiator Springs Curios. These are based on Toys R Us exclusive playsets from 2006 to promote the first Cars. They're very high quality playsets and they were great starting off points, but I wanted to get them photorealistic and as detailed to the movie and to Cars Land at Disneyland as possible. Now here's the thing. Flo's took a very long time for me to build. There was a lot of complexity to that project. Everything you see is scratch made, except for these 3 roof elements. Those are from the original Flo's playset. The lights were extremely complicated, so I had to teach myself all the basics of EL wire to get that neon look. So Radiator Springs Curios, conversely, would be simpler. So I'm giving myself a timeline of 1 month to get all of these ready and display ready for my friends, as this turned out to be a complex project in itself. Did I mention that the cars also are all customized as well? These are 1/64th scale, which are smaller than Mattel's usual 1/55 scale. These are all carefully sourced and each individually customized to be movie accurate and as scale accurate to each other, and as detailed as possible. I want pictures of my minis to pass for screenshots from the movie, so let's get into how I did it. I always wanted to do this project, so I was lucky enough to find this rare curio shop on eBay. It's actually sort of a rare collector's item for Cars fans, and so I feel a little guilty about dismantling it and drilling into it and painting it. So for this project, I deliberately sourced one that was missing parts and dinged up and well-loved by a kid. What was important to me was that it had these 3 old-time gas pumps, which would be very difficult for me to fabricate from scratch, so I was lucky to find one that had everything I needed for this project. You can see I've already added sagebrush plants and signage to the walls, just to have an idea in my head of what it will look like when done. This playset's honestly really nicely made with this nice matte plastic that already kind of looks like soil and brick and paint. It works as well as a display piece as it does as a playset. You can see on the inside there's all these play features that have broken off or I've already removed. I'm going to be using this purely as a display piece, but this must have been so fun to have as a kid. I got a lot of work ahead of me, so like any animation project or any good road trip, it's a good idea to have a slew of audiobooks, podcasts, songs, and essays to keep you sane through these long hours of work. And so to get myself in the spirit of this particular project, I listened to interviews and the writings of Michael Wallace. Michael Wallace is a Route 66 historian who served as a consultant on the film Cars for the Pixar crew.
This is going to be a wide open trip. There are no holds barred. You're going to meet a lot of people you might not agree with.
He also voiced the sheriff in the movie.
Boy, we ain't as dumb as you think we are.
I was pretty unfamiliar with this guy and his work outside of the movie's production, so I figured I'd look into it. My worry with this guy was that he'd be all milkshakes and muscle cars and viewing the road through some inauthentic rose-tinted lens. But what I found is that couldn't be further from the truth. Now, Michael Wallace is an astute, analytical historian of the American West, and he's just an incredible storyteller. He wrote extensively on the road and on other roads like the Lincoln Highway. Cars fans know him best for his Route 66 connection, but it was his book on Davy Crockett that got me through most of this build. I don't have a lot to add here, so I'll just let Mr. Wallace spin a yarn.
Good morning. Welcome to Tulsa. It was back in the late autumn of 1965, and I was a 20-year-old Marine coming home for some of Mom's cooking. Hitchhikers were not an endangered species back then, so snagging rides was a piece of cake, especially if you were in uniform and toting a sea bag. Now, during that trek, as I rode in various cars and trucks, I heard the pop tunes of the time sung by the Temptations, the Supremes, the Beatles, Sonny and Cher, the Beach Boys, the Righteous Brothers, and of course the incomparable Bob Dylan. But I also heard a song that has haunted me forever. It was called The Coming of the Roads, and Judy Collins sang it like a sad angel. Now that our mountain is growing with people hungry for wealth, how come it's you that's a-going, and I'm left all alone by myself? We used to hunt the cool caverns deep in our forest of green. Then came the road and tavern, and you found a new love, it seems.
I was unable to remove the porch or these 4 support columns in front of it, so I'll just leave them be and paint around them. Just another example of how detailed and high quality this playset already is. There's actual wood grain in the planks of the porch and on the panels of the floor in there. That's really nice. I've used AK terrains to mimic concrete and asphalt in other builds. This is the first time I've used it to mimic earth or look like a sandy desert. So let's see how it goes.
Once I had you in the wildwood. Now it's just dusty roads. And I can't help but blaming your going on the coming of the roads.
Time to tear out these stickers that have no doubt been on this playset since 2006. Sorry, Cars fans. They're causing me a lot of trouble, so I'm probably gonna have to get some Goo Gone at some point.
Look how they've cut all to pieces, our ancient redwood and oak, and the hillsides are stained with the greases that burned up the heavens with smoke. You used to curse the bold crewmen who stripped our earth of its ore. Now you've changed, and you've gone over to them, and you've learned to love what you hated before. Once I thanked God for my treasure, now like rust, it corrodes.
I sprayed a matte varnish over the porch to see how I would like it, but I wound up, you'll see, just repainting the whole thing. The matte varnish gives it a nice matte finish, so it's not glossy like plastic. These signs on top are fixed down pretty hard, so off camera, I just snapped them off. Sorry, Cars fans.
And I can't help but blaming your going on the coming of the roads. Now, it would be some time before I learned that that song, written by Billy Ed Wheeler, actually mourned the loss of a lover in an unspoiled forest destroyed by wealthy robin barons. To me, it was and always will be about the loss of my revered old roads.
Okay, so after an hour or 2 of work, it's looking pretty good so far. I've laid out the sand texture, I just need to... So now came one of the really fun parts, which was going into Photoshop and designing all of the graphics that you see in the shop. All of the signage, license plates, postcards, everything you see had to be designed. And you'll see I do a mix of designing license plates and objects from scratch, or pulling screenshots from the film or Cars Land. books like The Art of Cars and the poster Art of Cars also already have some great graphics from the movie and the parks in them. Very high quality versions that I could just screenshot and bring into Photoshop. I also decided to type out the Radiator Springs Curios signs and all the signs that you see on the billboards. I tried to match the fonts as close as I could, match the way it's laid out, match the color, and you'll see once they become decals, I apply them to actual wood signs. All of these signs would eventually be hand cut with scissors and would be placed into their respective spots in the shop. Some of the shop interior we don't see, so I get to get really creative with it and figure which kinds of signs or photos or postcards would have appeared just off camera that would believably be in that world.
It was about the 5 interstate highways that were being built right then, from Chicago to Santa Monica, to try to take the place of Route 66. To me, the coming of the roads meant the coming of the super slabs. It reminded me of long before, when we lost our hundreds of named highways, when they took down the signs marking the Lincoln Highway, when they thought we'd all forget the Lincoln and the other venerable roads that served us so well, and then had to go by aliases such as US 30. To me, the coming of the roads meant Interstate 80 and all the other interstates that slashed across the land. We all knew they were coming. We all knew they were necessary. But we also knew that they broke our hearts. That's what made me feel unhappy and empty. Once I thank God for my treasure now like rusted corrodes, and I can't help but blaming your going on the coming of the roads.
As an Easter egg, I'm also printing out a cover for Michael Wallace's book, Route 66, The Mother Road, to display inside of the shop. I don't know about you guys, but when I think of the Curio shop, I think of one of my earliest memories of it, which was playing the Cars video game on PlayStation 2. You enter Lizzie's shop and she sends you on a postcard hunt, which was my favorite thing in the whole game. I love finding hidden objects in video games, so as a nod to that, I included the postcard icon that I will be applying, hiding somewhere inside of the Curio shop. I also included black and white photos of her and her late husband Stanley to be displayed, as well as a photo of them on their wedding day. Alright, taking a quick break on a walk. I live out in Hollywood and we got these wonderful hills and vistas. And designing the decals may have been fun, but I needed to remember I also need to cut out all of these decals as well as all the other painting and weathering and fabrication tasks that I had. But it was a good time as ever to bump my TikTok audience for Sunset Minis that I am starting this project. Okay, it's November 2nd. I'm back at it. I am going to fill in these holes with my sand. I was busy the last few days with Halloween festivities, and I had an edit test for a job that I'm hoping to get, so. Editor's note, I did not get that job. Back on the grind. We have less than a month now. These holes in the base are what held the playset's original "Here It Is" signs, which were not included in this particular eBay listing and weren't high quality enough or movie accurate enough for this build, so I'm filling these holes in with clay and then paving over it with some more AK terrain desert texture. In the film, the Curio shop has a cluster of tall trees behind it. It also has a water tower where these fences are. There was a water tower in the original playset. It was a large plastic piece. It was a launcher that was fashioned to look like a water tower. So I would rather just have the tree. It's a pretty condensed space for both a water tower and a tree, so I'm sorry, gonna have to jettison the water tower. In Studson Studios' miniature Studio Ghibli build videos, if he takes a creative shortcut or makes some kind of compromise, he'll put a disappointed Miyazaki face. I think for mine, when I make some kind of compromise, I'll put a disappointed Michael Wallace.
And of course, those roads, those highly touted new and improved slabs of monotony did come They'd been coming a long time. They'd been coming all along, those interstate highways, and a lot more just like them had been coming since 1956, June 29th, 1956 to be precise.
Here I am mixing some gray paint to paint over the wood of the porch. I wasn't happy with the plastic finish, so I wanted to mix some paint it over to give the impression of years of peeling paint.
On that date, from a hospital room, President Dwight Eisenhower changed America with the flick of a wrist, sending it speeding down an off-ramp toward the future of an automobile-oriented society. In signing the bill that created the nation's interstate highway system, Ike kick-started a nationwide freeway construction boom.
The plastic molds are hollow and leave a gap, so I'm using modeling clay to fill in those gaps. That way light won't bleed through, and if you're looking at the porch from the side, you won't be able to see those plastic molding gaps. You didn't see anything. I cut myself during this art build. Haha, not to worry, viewer. I'm not depressed. It was a complete accident with my X-Acto blade. It slipped, and I have a band-aid around my index finger for much of the rest of this build. You don't realize how often you use your index finger for things until it's covered in a band-aid. But it didn't really impact my ability to finish this project. I got over it pretty quickly. These gaps in the floor are what held the support columns for the play feature. But if I'm gonna have an interior, I can't have a play feature. So I fill in these gaps with clay, and I printed out rugs and carpets that I will cover them up with.
He also fueled the country's then burgeoning car culture, which helped boost family car vacations and also advanced suburban sprawl, long-distance commutes, and frontage road commercial districts laden with fast food franchises, chain motels, and cookie-cutter culture.
After all that work, the ground is where I wanted it to be. The color, not so much. You'll see later I color the desert sand eventually to better match what's in the film. The playset has these flat plastic walls, but I wanted it to have that real textured brick pattern. So what I do is I measure out where I want to score each line with an X-Acto blade, and then I go over it once again with pencil, because pencil lead has a nice mortar effect. So when you run your finger over these walls, not only does it feel like brick, but it has the gaps that would be in between brick layers as well. Since the walls are thin plastic, light was bleeding through, so I meticulously filled in all those plastic gaps with clay, which I then sculpted and flattened and would eventually paint.
The result of that single act literally rearranged the way people live their lives. New communities may have been born, but many well-established communities in central cities died or were badly wounded. While Americans were taken with the automobile by the 1950s and freeways were under construction in urban areas around the country, a much discussed interstate network was not funded until Congress passed the Federal Aid Highway Act of 1956.
I was making great time with this build. I still had quite a bit of time until the big Christmas party, so I was feeling cocky and a little adventurous. That's too high. We're going on a field trip today. Alright, we are on Little Tujunga Canyon Road, which is a mountain desert road that connects the northern part of the San Fernando Valley to Palmdale. But I'm not going to Palmdale. I'm going to make a stop on the way. And I know the exact spot for a great photo shoot. When it's all put together, I will set it up there and take some nice videos and footage. So I'm just scouting out the location now. And I also want to, check out some back road antique stores to really immerse myself into the project that I'm making, so that I'm not, in a vacuum. And only looking at the movie Cars. I want to see what the people who made Cars, who developed it and wrote about the road, I want to see what they saw and experience what they experienced. Even if it's just, you know, right by LA, I want a little piece of it. Lovely. Just don't mind all the trash. You know, because I want that authenticity, that patina of the road. This is not Route 66. I'm not driving Route 66, but it's the same idea. It is a 2-lane desert highway. Because I could just take the super slab. I could just take the 170 to whatever freeway connection I'm going to, but for that Cars experience, for that Radiator Springs feel, I need to get on a 2-lane road, and it needs to be windy, it needs to go through the desert. I need to see some wildlife, I need to see some flora, I need to see some rocks. This is what your unemployed friend on a Tuesday is up to, in case you were wondering. Vasquez Rock. Let's go. I hate doing that. If you might have guessed, we are here at the Vasquez Rocks in Agua Dulce. And these are jagged red rock formations that shoot out perpendicularly from the ground. They're used commonly as a shooting location, like Star Trek. And I've never seen Star Trek, but I did see him in Bill and Ted, Bogus Journey.
Ah, Ted, we gotta do something.
And I wanted to use these as a shooting location because they really resemble, I think, the Cadillac Range Mountains of Radiator Springs. All right, let's try this angle. It's pretty good. Vasquez Rocks were exactly what I was hoping they'd be. They look just like the Cadillac Range Mountains from the movie. So I knew once this whole project was done, I was going to bring them out here for a photo shoot. This dried stream looks really dramatic. Make it seem like a big cliff. Location scouting was a success.
But when you're on the super slab, when you're on that turnpike, and even Michael Wallace has a pike pass, that's the reality, you might as well be on an airport runway because it's a slab of monotony. You know you're gonna eat your lunch out of a styrofoam box, but you gotta get off. Life begins at the off-ramp. And when you get off and when you go into a little town, whether it's on Route 66 or the Santa Fe Trail or the Tamiami Trail or the Lincoln Highway, or a little country road right around Stillwater, Oklahoma, if you go into a cafe that you've not been into before, it's adventure. You could get ptomaine poisoning, but you might find the meatloaf platter that you'd kill your mother for.
Is it open? It's closed. It opens Wednesday. I was really hoping, for the sake of adventure and spontaneity and my appetite, that I could attend River's End Pub and Barbecue, but who would have thought they were closed on Tuesdays? So I did not end up having some barbecue out there. Instead, I tried another place I'd never been before. This place, it turns out, is another filming location. Just so you know, this is amazing. I never want this burrito to end. I figured to get that full-on road trip experience, I had to go to an actual curio shop as well. I'm not really looking for anything. I'm just kind of looking around, taking in the scenery, the ambiance, the kinds of items that are for sale. I love all the varieties of shelving. Like, I wonder if they bought a lot of these shelves, or just found these at yard sales, or wherever, estate sales. Last Christmas, I got my sister a handheld mirror like this from an antique store, and she was so spooked that she wanted it out of the house. I'll try to do better this year. It's an old pump, I guess. I don't know, I like tactility. I like just touching everything in these stores. This is all curated so nicely. You have this kitschy Halloween section and this cutesy cottagecore section right next to all this silverware and right next to the curio shop itself. Let me break out the fine china. Did I have to go out to the desert or go to antique malls for this project? No, not at all. But the Pixar crew did not have to go down Route 66 for Cars either. So if even a glimmer of inspiration makes its way into this build from that little day trip, then I think it'll make the build that much more real. Okay, it's November 5th. We have even less time now to finish the project. I'm glad I took that little field trip yesterday. Hazel, are you hungry? Yeah, you're hungry. Alright, printed out some graphics and started applying some to see how they look, and I have some placeholders for the signage. This is just on 8.5 by 11 white paper. I just want to see how it looks, if the scale is accurate. I think it looks good. Also, spray painted the cacti today. I ordered some 3D printed cacti from an Etsy seller that I painted for this project. There's technically a 4th cacti on the porch with Lizzie in the movie, but I'm gonna have to forego that. Sorry.
It's a video, say hi.
Supermoon.
It's a supermoon.
Supermoon.
That was when Eisenhower eagerly signed that year on June 29th in Walter Reed Hospital, where he was recovering from intestinal surgery.
These highway route signs are a very complicated shape, but deceptively they were very easy to cut out with the scissors. I was also just being very careful, but I should do a head count of how many Route 66 signs I've had to cut for this project, because it was a lot.
The act, which envisioned a 41,000-mile network of smooth, fast, wide, intersection-free superhighways from coast to coast, promised to reimburse states for 90% of the cost of building the new thoroughfares. Many state officials were quickly seduced, and a highway building boom commenced that produced nearly tens of thousands of miles of interstate highways by early in this century.
Cutting out these small bits like license plates was the most meticulous part, because you can see how small they are. Once I've successfully cut them with the scissors, I take my chrome pen and I color the white edges silver to look like metal pressed license plates. And by that point, they're good to apply glue and hang. It was also around this time that we sent out the particle for our Christmas party, and oh my god, 28 people RSVP'd. Last year we had a small gathering, only 10 people showed up, but I think we might have overhyped last year's party too much. I don't even know how we'll fit 10 people in this room. I better get this project done in time. I'm trying another pass at coloring the dirt. I had done an earlier attempt to make it redder, but now it looks too much like dampened soil, so I'm gonna remix some red and brown and mix it in with some of the acrylic AK terrain texture, and in the end, I got exactly the kind of hot desert earth I was looking for.
Every state but Alaska has them, even Hawaii, and Alaska and Puerto Rico now have freeways funded under the interstate program. According to one road expert, the amount of concrete used to build the network could build a wall 9 feet thick and 50 feet high around the world.
This box tracked some sand from Vasquez Rocks with it, so I figured I would use that authentic Southwest desert sand in little bits in the project for that authenticity, right?
Undoubtedly, the interstate highway system was the most important and grandest public works project in United States history. Proponents of highway construction in the automobile industry, particularly their powerful lobbyists, like to say that this vast system of interstates has made life and travel easier for tens of millions of Americans.
You want to buy those?
Maybe.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah, are they cool?
Want to buy them?
Maybe. Pretty cool.
Yeah, good taste.
Yeah.
Which Santa is your favorite Santa?
I kind of like the little conical Santa down there.
Yeah, we have some of those. I do like it.
If you think about it.
That is how I draw.
There's also another little one down here too.
Ooh.
It's a little set.
Yeah, within 10 years, these stores are going to be full of AI slop that you can buy at other big box stores right now.
I'd like to think that there's a little more hope than that.
I would like to think so too. At Isabel's insistence, I'm getting this boat ornament. Though I do love it. I love my boats. I'm now measuring just how big I want each wood panel of the large billboards to be.
They enjoy bragging that you can drive across the country without hitting a red light. But in addition to making it easier and quicker for average Americans to drive, interstates also made it faster and cheaper for businesses to move goods around the nation and led to a huge boom in the trucking industry. Today, millions of trucks travel the interstates and move billions of tons of goods, compared with the 120,000 trucks when Eisenhower signed the bill. If any of you spend even a little time on Interstate 40, you quickly realize how many trucks are out there. This vast system of interstate highways had been on Eisenhower's mind ever since 1919, when, as a yet then young Army officer, Eisenhower joined 294 other members of the Army and departed from Washington, D.C. in the military's first automobile caravan across the country. The primary route the caravan followed was the Lincoln Highway, christened in 1913.
Alright, this is what will become the sign. I'm going to refine it and glue it all together. You'll notice all the grain is pointed in different directions. That's the way it is in the movie, as if it was tacked together haphazardly and from scratch. It adds to the scrappy feel to the whole thing, so I can't wait to see what this will look like once it's done.
But due to poor roads, plenty of thick Iowa gumbo, blowing sands, difficult driving conditions, the caravan averaged 5 miles per hour and took 62 days to reach Union Square in San Francisco. At the end of World War II, then General Dwight David Eisenhower surveyed the war damage to Germany and was impressed with the durability and efficiency of the Autobahn. While a single bomb could make a train route useless, Germany's wide and modern highways could often be used immediately after being bombed because it was difficult to destroy such a wide swath of concrete and asphalt.
This part I was really nervous about how it would go. I was applying the water slide decals to all the billboards and signs to see how they would react to wood. You'll see the first attempt didn't go too well, but once I applied my decal solution, it sank into the wood grain and looked really good, like it was painted on.
Those two experiences, the 1919 Lincoln Highway trip and the Second World War, convinced President Eisenhower of the importance of efficient highways.
Okay, it's November 14th. The party is December 6th. I've been working on the decals, which were initially a complete disaster, but you'll see now, they look really good. They look just like the movie. I'm so happy with how those turned out. I just need to add lights, and I'll figure out all the wiring, but it's flying, you know? I don't want to jinx it. I just need to do the interior and everything. I'm still going out of town for Thanksgiving soon. It's raining. It's lovely in Los Angeles right now. It was the coziest, rainiest night in LA. Oh, too rainy. Our whole tree collapsed in the middle of the night. We heard a loud crack and thud. Thankfully, the project is okay, and so are the people.
In the 1950s, America was frightened of nuclear attack by the Soviet Union. People were even building bomb shelters in their homes. It was thought that a modern interstate highway system could provide citizens with evacuation routes from the cities and would also allow the rapid movement of military equipment across the country. Also by the late 1950s, as construction of the new superhighways began, there were promises of creating new jobs and stimulating the economy while easing the overcrowded highway conditions. The interstate boom brought with it an economic boom, especially for the highway construction, oil and automotive industries, and automobile manufacturers. It also benefited the tourism industry and helped drive the growth of fast food outlets, national motel chains, and those look-alike business districts built at off-ramps, even in the middle of nowhere. The network also brought suburban sprawl.
Today is Monday the 17th. I fly to Dallas in 6 days, and I'm making excellent progress on the miniature. It's going so well. I'm putting up all the signs, all the brickwork is done, all the desert textures done. Mainly I just need to cut out and trim and decorate the patchwork of signage that's all over the shop. And I can't wait to do the interior too. I don't think I'm running low on time. The party is on the 6th. I will be in Dallas for a week, and then I'll be at a funeral in the days after. Maybe before the end of the week I could even have the lights ready. It's ambitious, but we'll see. Tough year, but miniature's going great. The billboards turned out so good. I'm really nervous about poking holes in them, but I need to run a lighting test. Thankfully, the light comes out amazingly out of those holes, like all the incandescent bulbs you see in the movie. This is big. One of the jobs I'm really hopeful for wants to interview me, or at the very least, they want a phone screening so they can have an interview, so... It's raining today. It's absolutely gorgeous. I also don't know what I'm gonna do about lighting, because the lighting tests I ran today weren't great. To be fair, I was using bulbs. I should probably be using LED strips instead, just because I want the lighting to look right for the party. I'm cooking dinner at the moment. We got an Every Plate meal. Does Every Plate do YouTube sponsorships? If so, sign up with code Harrison Draws Cars. I would love Every Plate to sponsor me. But I couldn't worry about that. I was about to leave town and be away from my project for a very long time. Maybe it would give me good time to recollect, to reconfigure, to have new ideas. Maybe the separation will be good. Stetson hats. I'm in Dallas. I am in the guest room. Why are you standing? How are you doing that? We're coming up on my favorite bookshop in the whole world. Hey, they got it. And I was right. It was very nice to be away from the project to get my mind off things, but it's all I could think about. I was constantly checking my camera roll, looking at old footage. It's like, this is what I imagine having a child will be like.
This is where we make a mess. We've already made a mess.
Oopsies. Hello.
Hello. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was a success. We fly home tomorrow morning. We land in LA the 28th. We have the funeral to drive up to. And then when we're home, it'll be going all out on the miniature.
All out for Christmas.
All out for Christmas. Because we got that party on the 6th, which is next week. So. This revelation sent me in a frenzy. I had so much work to do, but I was in a great place. The project was so close to being done. Within seconds, before I even unpacked my bag, I was straight to work on the decals. But the decals had to wait, because the very next morning we were on the road again. We're off to Atascadero.
We're off to
through the Santa Barbara Mountains right now. It's gorgeous. We're gonna pass Solvang soon. We won't go in, but it's a lovely back road.
We were there earlier this year.
We did go earlier this year, yeah. We also went to Santa Barbara, stopped in Los Olivos, and they always route us through this mountain. There's a lake up there. Fire danger low today.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
You think you know who would let Malfoy join?
Guys, I think my grandma might have been Lizzie.
I love it so much.
How much is it?
26.
Ooh, it's a steal.
Think about it, 'cause it's really cute.
It's the famous leaning bench of Cambria. I sat on that and figured, oh, not today. So remember how I said earlier we weren't gonna stop in Solvang? Is this a miniature store? In Solvang? Be out of place in Radiant Springs. It was a great vacation, but playtime's over. I have to devote all of my time and attention now to getting this miniature done in time for our big Christmas party reveal. Easier said than done. Occasionally, the plastic molding will have lumps in the design to indicate physical signs on them, so for those, I actually apply waterslide decals to them so they take the form of the lump. You'll also see me painting the doorway the same color as the exterior door frame, just so it's not the same red color as the brick plastic.
Suburbs had existed, even flourished before the advent of the interstates, but now these new wide open interstates made it not only possible, but also enjoyable to live a significant distance from work. And this newfound ease of travel brought new, more distant suburbs, which lured residents and businesses from central cities, leading to the decline of many downtowns and creating communities that required driving to get to the supermarket, the park, school, church, and of course those shopping malls. Overdevelopment, urban development, and creeping suburban sprawl was already endangering much of America's landscape. The interstates, like the ones running alongside the Lincoln Highway and Route 66, brought even more damage as they gashed into cities like Tulsa, cut through farms, and bypassed so many small towns. The highway bypasses changed traffic patterns and caused whole towns to dry up and disappear. The natural environment was ravaged, and the privately owned rail system was left in shambles. Our passenger train system today remains anemic. But besides clobbering our nation's trains, entire city centers were destroyed by the interstates. Homes and family businesses were leveled, and established neighborhoods vanished. Some politicians and fat cats had the audacity to call this progress. Others believe that this world's largest public works project, the interstate highway system, fully transformed Americans into what has been described as, quote, a car-centric, oil-guzzling, and pollution-spewing people, close quote. As critics of the nation's overworked highways point out, any positives of the interstate system are surely balanced by the negatives, such as the decline of sidewalks, the decline of walking, and the decline of the country's front porch culture.
Another compromise you'll notice in the movie and at Cars Land, this left wall of the building does not have any windows or a door. It's just a plain brick wall, but the playset came with 2 doors on either side, so sorry everyone, sorry Michael. For the garage doors, I painted them with a steel wax texture that would make it the color of metal, and then I lightly scored it with a knife and went over it again with pencil, just like I did with the bricks, so it looks like a corrugated garage door. I had also finished punching all the holes, and the light bled through wonderfully, so now it was time to figure out how to get a bulb inside and make sure it all is lit. Also, for the Christmas party, I couldn't just finish these miniatures, I had to decorate my pre-existing miniatures for the holiday.
People simply don't walk anymore because there are fewer sidewalks, and besides, it's much more comfortable to drive everywhere in their air-conditioned car.
I made and decorated a tiny Christmas tree, and I plan to put it inside of my tiny contemporary apartment. In one apartment, you see a girl having a cozy night in reading. In the other apartment, you see a little small party. So I want to have 2 very different nights for these residents.
They don't sit out on front porches any longer because their houses are air-conditioned and there's television to watch. Sadly, most folks think that's much better than sitting on the front porch, gossiping with neighbors, watching the kids play, sipping lemonade, listening to the radio. My good friends, I really understand that the original Lincoln Highway, as well as Route 66, both of them and the other old roads, outlived their usefulness as practical roadways because they could no longer handle the volume of traffic. I am as future-minded as the next person is, and I do not want to dwell in the past. I have an abiding respect for the past, but I do not dwell in it. I look forward to the future.
Hello, I think my hair is messy, I don't care, but I'm in the final days of the miniature build. It's November 2nd. The party's on the 6th. That's in 4 days. I've done a tremendous amount of work since coming home from Dallas and from Atascadero to get everything ready. Got all these oil cans here that will go on display at Flo's, which I have reinforced currently. I'm just re-gluing parts of the roof that were coming loose. I'm also going to touch up some of it with paint before people arrive. And I gotta do the lighting today for the curio shop. Emotionally, how am I doing? I had 2 job interviews last week. I think they went well. More jobs have come up that I've applied to that I'm really hoping I get. And a lot of just waiting and seeing. I feel useless. I feel like I'm just taking up space, and I'm especially like building miniatures. It's such a, meaningless thing in the long run. I'm, putting so much effort into this project that I just feel useless. I feel like a child. I feel like I'm wasting space. But when I get a job, I'm gonna miss this. When I'm working again, I'm not gonna have time to do a project for a very long time. I'm gonna have to stop animating. I'm gonna have to stop doing essays. I'm gonna have to stop building miniatures. And what's hard about that, it's so hard to enjoy this time that I have now to do that. I can't wait for my party though. I've been looking forward to this party for a very long time, and for people's reactions to this build. So feeling low, feeling confused, feeling just antsy. Alright, that's my check-in for today. I'm just gonna keep working on oil cans. Oh, we got a Christmas tree last night. Ain't she pretty? We got in and out after. And in my miniature apartment, I'm trying out these colored string lights. They're really bright, so I don't know if I want to use them. You're looking at 84 tiny cans of oil that I've painted and fabricated and added decals to and stacked and glued. But that's nothing compared to the light bulbs, the fiber optics that you're about to see.
I'm not advocating that we do away with air conditioning and TV. I happen to enjoy both. But my point is this: when we gave up those things, we lost something very important in our lives. Then again, those so-called good old days weren't always good, were they? They were good for me, a kid from Missouri traveling the highways with my family, getting to see the nation up close and personal. I knew we were on an adventure, and hopefully that evening Dad would have the wisdom to pick a motel with a swimming pool. But those road trips on the Mother Road, and any other highway in the land for that matter, were not so pleasant for many, many others. If I had been a little African-American boy back then, I would not be making memories to cherish. People of color had to search for places to eat, to sleep, to gas up their cars, just to use the restroom. So I never, and you should never, romanticize the Mother Road. Just like all roads, 66 could be an abusive mother. The old road was a mirror held up to the nation and reflected the views, the condition, and culture of those times.
The big problem I ran into with the lighting was that from a head-on view, the lights coming out the holes looks amazing, but from the sides, it loses the effect. You don't see the light coming out. But I've known from prior work with fiber optic lights, I can make that illusion. It'll make me pull my hair out, and it'll be the most back-breaking labor, but I want this to look amazing for the party, so I decided to do it. To get that look of hundreds of light bulbs, I cut hundreds of 3-centimeter long fiber optic, and with tweezers, the best as I could without losing them, and I lost many. It's gone. Gotta cut a new one now. Put them inside the holes that I poked.
With the advent of air conditioning, people no longer had to go outside to shoot the breeze, exchange stories, and communal wisdom. Everyone moved indoors to isolated, refrigerated entertainment centers, sidewalks and front porches, connected families, public squares, parks and benches, libraries, dance halls, churches, and community centers.
Alright, so I filmed that last video at 1:17. It is now 2:45. Here's the progress that I've made on my signage. I have so much left to do, but today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I got 2 days. I can do it. I knew I wanted an interior for the building, so you'll see I'm making 4 pieces of small furniture. I'm making a desk, I'm making 2 shelves, and I'm making a large shelf with the bumper stickers on it.
Old communities organized around reunions of all kinds, like class reunions, band reunions, club and family reunions. Now, I've been told, and I hope it's true, that the number of new homes being built today have front porches, and that's gradually increasing, and I'm I really do think that's true, because those porches evoke a time when people looked out for one another by looking out at the world. So maybe we've been sold a bill of goods about progress, about some progress. I grew up thinking, and still do, that progress has always bettered our lives. And that's why we associate technology with progress and improvement in the quality of our lives. In so doing, we have gone along with technological changes that have been harmful to our families, our communities, and us. Today, with the endless ribbons of concrete often clogged with commuters, travel is no longer easy and certainly not enjoyable.
You saw me put those multicolored Christmas lights out in my miniature apartment build. Well, I got those because I wanted to try one of Evan Design's regular warm white string lights to use as the lights that wrap around the two side billboards. But I found the effect wasn't what I wanted it to do. The lights were too sparsely apart, and they were a slightly different shade than what was on the main billboard, so I figured I would do the fiber optic method on these two small billboards as well. But with the bulbs inside of them, look how good springs and the R in radiator look from every angle. They look like hundreds of light bulbs illuminated. It's exactly what I wanted.
That hasn't stopped the development of far-flung suburbs or the willingness of people to live in them while working far away. But the biggest impact of the interstate system, historians and some critics say, is that it has created a nation in which a car is necessary and public transportation is often dismissed as an undesirable alternative to driving, and also an economy that's dependent on oil.
What you're looking at here are dozens of tiny, tiny, tiny postcards that have been hand cut, and I'm going to stack them up and attempt to build a postcard carousel to go on top of the desk. For the structure of the postcard carousel, I'm using a transparent push pin that I've colored the base and top of with a chrome tip marker, and there will be so many postcards blocking it that you won't be able to even tell that it's a push pin. Just don't ask me how a car is supposed to pick a postcard out of that and hold it and purchase it and store it. It looks really nice. That's the thing.
And even with rising gas prices, that mentality drove the interstate boom. And it's hard for many people to shake, say the critics of sprawling development. After so many years of wear and tear, the interstate system has gone through its midlife crisis. For so long, many highway engineers say that the interstates are crumbling beneath the crush of ever-increasing traffic. So the conventional solution to traffic jams is what? To build more roads, which promptly fill up with more cars. It is no accident that this country, with the largest system of roads and highways, including all those interstates, per capita automobile usage is the highest in the world. Nor is it any accident that per capita greenhouse gas emissions in the U.S. are greater than in most other developed countries. Let me tell you, these are fighting words for me to argue out here in oil country. In the long run, the interstate highway system, for all its virtues, may well be seen as a mistake.
By the day's end, I had made so many tiny cans of oil, so many tiny light bulbs, and decorated the interior so much. I think just the collective meticuli of all my tasks just really got to me. I slept good that night, but I had a long day of fabrication and work tomorrow.
It is interesting and rather depressing, I think, to speculate on what the U.S. might have become had it spent the cost of the interstates improving railroads and developing ways of moving people and generating power that used energy more cleanly and efficiently. We did not do that. And our failure to use our resources wisely in the past is going to make the future that much more difficult.
At long last, all of the tiny fiber optics had been put into the main billboard. Now, I had to do the same for these two smaller billboards. There's also a gas pump inside of the curio shop as seen in the movie. Thankfully, I had a spare gas pump from my Flo's V8 Cafe build. These are 3D prints that I sourced on eBay. The time had also come to cover up these gaps with the play features with rugs and carpets. When sourcing rugs and carpets, I did a little research on Native American tribes that would have been native to the Southwest US region, the Navajo and the Apache people. I feel like when you're in a lot of these older shops on the road or in these like roadside places, you tend to see a lot of Native American carpets, and so it fits the setting, and it covers the holes perfectly. The time had also come to make Lizzie display ready. So Lizzie was probably the hardest character to create for this project. Again, this project is 1/64th-ish scale, which is smaller than the Mattel 155 line, so I had to figure out how to create a Lizzie that would work in this scale. The main body of Lizzie is borrowed from her Mattel Mini Racers Lizzie. I used clay to very meticulously move her greenhouse a little higher up because it's taller in the movie, and I was very careful sculpting the clay because my rule was I did not want it to look like a child made it or used Play-Doh haphazardly. And then the wheels I swapped with an older Matchbox Ford Model T, and it had the proper ride height and looked almost exactly like a 1/64 car. She's not perfect, but when she's sitting on the porch of the curio shop, you buy it. It looks great. The signs on the exterior walls look too clean, so I'm running over them with a light rust texture to give the impression they've been hanging up there in the desert air for decades. Do you want to smell that? What is it?
So perhaps that is why all of us who love the idea of the Lincoln Highway and Route 66 and those other two-lane roads that outlive their usefulness still cherish the history, the heritage, and the legacy of historic highways.
Hello, miniature. Another day in heaven. Clock was ticking. We were in the final stretch of the project, but I couldn't just work on the miniature. We had to get party supplies at Target. Back, I got to work filling in the gaps on the wood signs with some black modeling clay. And they were really sticky and it was really finicky to do, but in the end, you'll see that it works. I cannot wait for this desk to be clean.
That is why I turn to the old, scarred roads for enjoyment and pleasure, and maybe for answers that may never come. We turn to those old roads because they give us a sense of community.
Using some pieces of the garland that we got with our tree, I was able to craft a tiny Christmas tree to put on top of this SUV in front of my coffee shop. Using more clay, I sandwiched the back end of the sign, pressing into it to make sure that absolutely no light bleeds out the side. It was also time to build and paint the support beams that prop up the billboards.
In the case of Route 66, for example, those of us who live and work along this linear village stretching from Chicago to Santa Monica have become an extended family. Sometimes we are dysfunctional, and sometimes we are in unison. But no matter, we are family. We are part of a greater community.
Close to finishing this. I'm in the final stretch. I'm just painting the supports for these signs that aren't pretty, but you're not supposed to notice those. I'm gonna weather these after this.
The late great Margaret Mead defined an ideal community as one that has a place for every human gift. Mead explained that an ideal community would somehow keep the best of the old ways and add the best of the new. Such a community would have a mixture of races, generations, and viewpoints. People in the community could enjoy the intellectual and cultural stimulation of cities and the safety of friendly neighborhoods. We'd have privacy and also front porch visits and potluck dinners, freedom and civic responsibility. All the adults would take responsibility to help all children. We would have connection without clannishness, accountability without autocratic control. The ideal community would support individual growth and development and foster loyalty and commitment to the common good. Is that what we have?
I also just swapped out the sign for the ramen shop with a better one. I was never really satisfied with how it looked before. And the interior is actually quite intricate. I have a ceiling light that illuminates everything, and I have a smaller purple LED that kind of gives the inside some character. And to stop any of the purple from bleeding into the store sign, I have this darker transparent screen in place, and I also have a piece of styrofoam that I use just as an additional stopper, so that it's just two separate lights going on inside.
Not even close. But if it's not what we have, that is exactly what we all need to strive to achieve, and it can be done. We have to put aside our differences, petty jealousies, regional divides, and join together as one to make sure that there will always be front porches and sidewalks and old twisty roads that go right through the heart of town. Change and growth can be very good, but it is important to protect and preserve our past and the here and now so we can enjoy a bright future together.
By leaps and bounds, I'm getting it done. It is so nice outside. It's a winter's night in California. This is what the mamas and papas were singing about. I've got a lot of work left, but it's all just like repetitive, meticulous work. I'm doing more light bulbs for the side billboards. That's pretty much it. I need to drill holes to run the wires through so it can be plugged in, but I think, and I don't want to jinx it, I don't know what could ruin this aside from a meteor, but I think I'll have it ready in time for tomorrow. With a free day tomorrow to help Isabel clean so she's not freaking out. It's so nice. Look at that moon. I love LA, man. Sometimes. I was nervous about drilling these tiny holes into the roof to get these LEDs through, because what if I messed up the entire roof of this entire project the night before the big party happens? That was not allowed to happen. Thankfully, went off without a hitch. It's like 2:30 a.m. before the party. We're in the final stretch. Just wiring now. I was exhausted by this point, but all I had left to do was wire and plug everything in, which honestly is one of the most back-breaking parts of the whole thing, but once it's done, the final result is compared to no other part of the project, because you get to see it all lit up.
That is what the old roads offer. They are forever and always the free roads, and just their names alone are magic.
There was so much to plug, there was so much to entangle, there was so much work and so much sweat dripped, but after a long night, after a long month, at long last, it was done. And I could enjoy it a full 24 hours, well, a lot less than 24 hours. It's pretty early in the morning before any guests would lay their eyes on it. Clean up, everybody, everywhere. If someone wants to commission me, they should just know I'm gonna charge them a fortune. Look at all this. After a full day of cleaning the apartment, soon enough, we heard a knock on the door.
People love public transit. I don't know if it loves me that, but...
So what color?
We
Yeah.
were thinking like doing like a dark green.
My apartment had never had so many people in it, but honestly, it was a lot more manageable than I thought it would be.
That's where we wash our clothes.
Soon enough, had the stomach getting up in front of everyone because it was time for my big moment.
To make this day so special. Oh wow. Everyone has their cameras out. All of you over there. No pressure. We love Christmas. We love this time of year. This has been a very hard year for me, so it's very nice for all of you to come out to celebrate with us this season. Anyways, I've been working hard. Who wants to see a miniature? Next year, 2026, will be the 100th anniversary of Route 66, the great American highway from Chicago to Santa Monica. It will also be the 20th anniversary of a movie called Cars. That's very close to my heart. It's what made me want to be an animator. Sorry. I guess it's the reason I'm unemployed, but this roadside kitsch, old Americana, road trips, architecture, it all, that's what my brain looks like. I just like had to recreate it. And so I've made 2 buildings from the town of Radiator Springs that you can see in the movie and at Cars Land at Disneyland. I'm gonna pull this off. Light up.
People shouting, or reaction, or curious looks, or Instagram stories were any indication the miniatures were a hit. And I felt like the hero of the night.
I've been on this since December of last year.
I had done it. I gave myself this arbitrary deadline and I had my very first miniature unveiling ever. This is a hobby that I've always sort of kept to myself, but whenever I show people, they're always blown away, so I figured, what if I just invited all my friends over and showed them what I've been working on? And sure enough, I felt like king of the world, and Christmas was made.
Party was a success.
Thank you.
I'm about to go to Vasquez Rocks. We're back. All right, where did I do this last time? I'm so cool. Well, I did it. I finished the Flows Cafe project that I've been working on for over a year, and I did the curio shop in a month. That's remarkable. I'm really happy I could get it done and end it all here. What have we learned? Lessons, takeaways. Persevere, hang in there, and when you're in a rut, use that time wisely. Use that time for projects that say this is who you are and that you know will impress people. Do the things that you've been wanting to do your entire life. What a place in the world I'm in right now. Happy birthday, Cars. Happy 20th birthday. A huge shout out to my paid patron, Odd Dog Warrior. If you'd like early access to content, exclusive communications, and access to my high quality decal sheets, feel free to support me on Patreon. Link is in the description.